press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello children, we are discussing atomic structure. So this is part 7. Last time we had a discussion on the dual nature of matter, in which we discussed that matter exhibits particle and wave nature. Particle and wave nature dominance is different in microscopic and macroscopic things. Now, light which reaches us is not composed of what we see. It is composed of what we see, and it's also composed of which is not visible to our naked eye. Light being matter, because we know light does not travel continuously, rather light travels in the form of small bundles and packets of energy called as photons. And last time we said, like electrons, protons, photons will also exhibit wave and particle nature. So there will be different experiments which prove somewhere light acting as wave and somewhere light acting as particle. So there is definitely dual nature exhibited by light. Keep it in mind, when we have charged bodies, like electrons, when they are accelerated continuously, they produce electric and magnetic fields which are perpendicular to each other. Sorry, when any charged bodies like electrons are accelerated, they produce electromagnetic fields. Similar way, when you look on the light, light is also composed of band of waves and when this band of waves or radiations are arranged in their increasing order of wavelengths, we call that a spectrum. The light that reaches us has got many sub-fundamental portions, and the whole band of the colors that we are able to see. Suppose children, we have a prism. When you pass light through it, we know white light breaks into how many constituent colors? 7. And in these 7 colors which this light is breaking off, not only these 7 colors which we are able to see is present, there are some other waves and there are some other radiations present as well which we are not able to see with our naked eye. Because our eyes have limitations, we are able to see particular frequencies and particular wavelengths only. Our mind is able to, our brain is able to formalize, or our brain is able to analyze only few wavelengths and only few frequencies, not all. So the band of waves that you have in the light, or the band of waves, we call those as electromagnetic waves, and the arrangement is electromagnetic spectrum. We have arranged those in terms of their increasing wavelengths, or we have arranged those in terms of their decreasing frequencies or decreasing energies, so on and so forth. These are basic concepts that you have learned in your 10th class as well. Now, as we see this light and we see the electromagnetic spectrum, we have many complicated things with respect to electromagnetic spectrum available. We have some fundamental criteria or fundamental properties of these electromagnetic radiations. Electromagnetic radiations are moving and their changing electric and magnetic fields are mutually perpendicular to each other. That is, when electromagnetic waves move from one place to other through the medium, they will travel in such a way that their electric and magnetic components are mutually perpendicular to each other. And it is these changing electric and magnetic fields, they keep oscillating. They are not only mutually perpendicular to each other, these electric and magnetic fields are mutually perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave as well. I am trying to keep electromagnetic waves in a simple way, because you are in your 11th class children, we cannot start with the direct complicated aspects of electromagnetic spectrum. In simple ways, if you are asked what does electromagnetic spectrum mean, electromagnetic spectrum is the arrangement of waves or arrangement of radiations in terms of their increasing wavelengths or in terms of their decreasing frequencies, because we will see in our next part of the same class that what exactly are the relationships between frequencies, wavelengths, energies, so on and so forth. Clear, children? Good. So this light is composed of different parts, different portions. What we are able to see, we call that as visible part. So we can write that down as well. So we have the light which comes to us is composed of three different portions. We have got ultraviolet portion, we have got visible portion, we have got infrared portion. So we got visible light, we got ultraviolet light, and we got infrared light. Clear or not? So above ultraviolet also we have got some portions of it, of this electromagnetic spectrum, and below infrared radiations also we have. I'll write all those things one by one. So some characteristic properties of these electromagnetic radiations are that these electromagnetic radiations with changing electric and magnetic fields are mutually perpendicular to each other. Not only that, they are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave also. So if they are moving in the forward direction like this, propagating like this, electric and magnetic fields will keep on changing. Suppose next one will be, it will become the electric component, this will be magnetic component. So they keep changing. So the source of production of this energy is within the field itself, within these electromagnetic radiations itself. Clear? Number one. Number two, these electromagnetic radiations, all, they travel with the same velocities, whether they are traveling in a medium or in a vacuum. So in vacuum, these travel with the speed, because these are the parts of the light, those travel with the speed of 3 into 10 the power 8 meters per second. Speed remains same. But matter waves like water waves and sound waves, their speed will vary depending upon the medium they are traveling in. Because the source of energy in electromagnetic radiation is inherited to these electromagnetic radiations only, within it only. I am trying to be simple with respect to electromagnetic spectrum here, children. Clear or not? So white light is breaking down into colors. What does we call this breaking as? Breaking is called as dispersion. Breaking of white light into its constituent colors. Not only white light, breaking of light into its constituent portions is called as dispersion. And arrangement of those portions in terms of their increasing wavelengths, we call that as spectrum. I hope you understood the basic clearance of the spectrum here, electromagnetic spectrum, what exactly it means. Clear, children? So they travel with the speed of 3 into 10 to the power 8 meters per second. Now these electromagnetic waves, when they travel, they have some characteristic properties, like they have wavelengths. They have wavelength, there is frequency, there is time period, there is amplitude of a wave, and there is energy. So there are so many characteristic properties associated with the wave, and each wave is characterized by particular frequency and particular wavelengths. So every wave in electromagnetic spectrum, each wave and each portion has their characteristics waves. Clear or not? And when we talk about the visible part of that electromagnetic spectrum, it ranges from 340 nanometers to 740 nanometers. So here it is V, I, B, G, Y, O, R. This is increasing wavelength, because red has the maximum wavelength and violet has the least. Remember it as well. The deflections which are caused in the waves or which are caused in this light, red gets deflected least because it is interaction with the medium is less. That you can understand how. Because children, if you look on your textbook, you will have a table given there. There is one proper table with the frequencies and with the wavelengths given. And when you see there, how is this electromagnetic spectrum arranged there? How it will be arranged there? It will be like this, children. So you will have a table will be properly given there mentioned. So I am just drawing the graph, energy graph only here. So this one will be in this direction. When you go, it is increasing wavelength. Out of this electromagnetic spectrum, a very small portion is the visible portion, which we are able to see. And in this visible portion only, you have V, I, B, G, Y, O, R. So above red, you have some regions, and below violet also you have some regions. Keep it in mind, it's increasing wavelengths. So in the VIBGYOR region, violet has minimum wavelength, while as red has maximum wavelength. Violet has minimum wavelength and red has maximum wavelength. So this is increasing wavelengths, right? So when you go further ahead of the red region, we will get near infrared. So in this case, you will get near infrared part. Then near to infrared, you will get one more with proper frequency, with particular frequencies. We call that as infrared. Then you have radio waves. Then you have microwaves. So these are segments, or these are portions of electromagnetic spectrum. Then below violet, when you come, you have got ultraviolet, then you have got X-rays, then you have got gamma rays, then you have got cosmic rays, so on and so forth. So you can have a look on the table there. So these are all arranged on the basis of their increasing wavelengths, clear, or decreasing frequencies, or decreasing energy. We will discuss those parameters for waves now, electromagnetic waves. What are the characteristic properties? Did you get it? So they have electric and magnetic fields which are oscillating perpendicular to each other, and they are perpendicular to the direction of propagation of wave. They can travel with the same speed in the medium and in the vacuum. In the vacuum, all of these have got the same speed, that is 3 × 10⁸ meters per second. Clear or not? Oh, clear, right? And then they have got some fixed parameters associated with it, like amplitude, then you have got wavelength, then you got time period, then you have frequency, then you have energy, so on and so forth. So we are going to discuss for electromagnetic spectrum, in electromagnetic spectrum. Now you tell me, what is this for the light, which is matter actually? This type of analysis for the light is indicating what nature of light? It is wave nature. Is it clear or not? As I mentioned, we are now doing experiments, we are now doing analysis, and we are dealing with the results which are proving our dual nature of matter. So significance and non-significant is different, but we are talking about the wave nature of light in the present case. Am I clear, children? Clear with this thought or not? Right. Let us see the characteristic properties of these electromagnetic radiations, or electromagnetic waves to be precise. So tell me, in the visible zone we have VIBGYOR, and there red has the maximum or minimum wavelength. Red has maximum wavelength and violet has minimum. Correct. So we are dealing with electromagnetic spectrum, which shows the wave nature of light. Correct. Let us see characteristic properties of these waves here. We all know they travel in the form of crusts and troughs. The maximum distance traveled, this is the main question, the maximum distance traveled by the wave in upward or downward direction from its mean position, we call that as amplitude. So what is amplitude of a wave? Maximum distance traveled by a wave in upward or downward direction, and what we call this one as, all of you know it, it's called as crest, and this is called as trough. Okay, now the most important characteristic of wave is its wavelength, and from the wavelength only we are able to arrange electromagnetic spectrum, and in terms of frequencies as well. So looking on wavelength, which is measured in terms of meters represented by lambda, it is simple way, length of one wave. What is one wave composed of? It's made up of crest plus trough equals to one wave, right? So if I take this one as crest and this one as trough, the total of this will be the wavelength for us. These two will be the wavelength, yes or no? Or if I can generalize it out, this will be the length of the wave, one crest plus one trough. Yes or no? And usually in order to find out the shortest distance between the two, we say the distance between two crests or the distance between two troughs is called as wavelength. You can add up one crest plus one trough, that will give you actually the distance between crest and trough. So the distance between two crests or two troughs is called as wavelength. In simple and basic language, wavelength is the length of one wave. One wave in the whole medium. Clear? One wave. One crest plus one trough. It's called as wavelength. Good. Now, so one characteristic property is that wavelength represented in terms of meters. Now let us see, observe, let us observe this particular point here. Now, per unit time, we have the second parameter. We call that as frequency, represented by nu also or v also. Frequency. How frequently do you go to college? What will frequency mean? The number of times you are visiting college. When you look on frequency of a wave, it means through a particular point which we are observing, suppose O, per unit time or per second, the total number of waves that are crossing this particular point, we call that as frequency. So frequency is number of waves crossing a particular point per second. This frequency we also call as cycles per second, and remember here, one cycle means one wave. So how many waves will be crossing this particular point per unit time, we call that as frequency. Now you need to understand it very clearly, children, that if I suppose I have one more wave here, and you can see that the wavelength, you can see that the wavelength of this, suppose this is wave B and this is wave A, you can see that very clearly here. What? That wavelength of A is more than wavelength of B. Clear or not? You can see that very clearly. So wavelength of B, this is wavelength of A, suppose. Okay. So if you want to, if you are observing this point, you tell me which of the two waves, means in these two cases, in these two waves, which of the two will have more number of cycles crossing this particular point per second? First or second one? So here wavelength is less. So when one wave is crossing this particular point, for that particular period of time, there will be more than one wave crossing this particular point itself. Clear or not? That means wavelength of A is more than wavelength of B. That means frequency of B is more than frequency of A. What it means, children? Frequency and wavelength are inversely proportional. That is nu inversely proportional to lambda. So frequency is inversely proportional to lambda. So if wavelength is more, frequency will be less. Wavelength is more, frequency will be less. Clear? Or did you get it clear? Now, one more important point that we can discuss from this wavelength and frequency. It is with respect to energy of radiation. I'll write that here. Energy of radiation. Now, if the number of waves crossing this particular point are less in case of more wavelength, in case of less wavelength, number of waves crossing particular point are more. That means working capacity in general terms, working capacity of B means this wave is able to move faster. Yes or no? So the energy of the wave will be more or less. Energy will be more. So we have energy is directly proportional to frequency and energy is inversely proportional to wavelength. Keep it in mind. More the frequency, more will be the energy. Clear or not? More the wavelength, less will be the energy. That means in the visible zone, what is there? V, I, B, G, Y, O, R. Red has got most wavelength and violet has got least wavelength. That means energy of violet light will be more than energy of red. One more important thing that you can understand now. A while earlier I have shown you electromagnetic spectrum. So above, suppose this one, this is ultraviolet, right? This is violet, this is red. So here, what was the region coming? What did I say? Gamma rays, X-rays, cosmic rays. That means they are more energetic. So when you look on that particular electromagnetic spectrum on your textbook, you will understand it very easily now. So you got cosmic rays, you got gamma rays, you got X-rays, then you got ultraviolet rays, then you got V, I, B, G, Y, O, R, visible portion, visible zone. Then you got near infrared, then you got infrared, then you got microwaves, then you got radio waves, so on and so forth. So they are increasing energies. So microwaves, radio waves are coming in low energy portions, while as cosmic rays and gamma rays are coming in high energy portion. Our main work dealing is with visible zone. So in visible zone, we have got the colors which we are able to see. So out of those, which one has more energy? Violet. Which has least energy? Red. What will that mean about wavelength? That means wavelength of red will be more. Wavelength of red will be more compared to violet, that in other words energy wise. So children, when we move from violet to red, tell me what is happening to energy? Energy is decreasing. What is happening to wavelength? Wavelength is increasing. What is happening to frequency? Frequency is decreasing. So you can say arrangement of radiations in terms of their energy, in terms of their wavelength, in terms of their frequency. We call that as electromagnetic spectrum. You are getting my point, children? Very good. So we got this point here clear. So what are the characteristic properties I discussed so far? Yes, I discussed about wavelength, amplitude, frequency, energy, right? So now what's the unit of this wavelength? I have already said frequency. What's the unit? You can see inversely proportional lambda. So frequency will be represented in terms of. So okay, before this I'll just talk of frequency is represented in terms of hertz, which is also called as per second. It's called as per second, hertz, per second. I'll explain that. Now we have one point here that is called as time period of a wave. What are called as, children? Time period of a wave. Time period of a wave. What does it mean? It is the time taken by one wave to cross a particular point. How much time will be taken by a particular wave to cross a particular point, we call that as time period. Now that should be understood, children. If wavelength is more, time period will be more. Alright, because when the length of the wave is more, it will take more time to cross that particular point. Yes. So when wavelength is more, time period will also be more. That means time period is directly proportional to wavelength. Is it clear? Or is it clear or not? Right? What about frequency? So if frequency of the wave is more, that means wavelength is less. That means time period will also be less. Correct or not? So time period is, or frequency is, inversely proportional to what? Time period. This is what I mentioned earlier here. Nu equals to 1 by t. That makes t what? It is 1 by second. So 1 by second is per second. This is the unit of frequency, per second. Oh, clear or not? At the end, I will give you the full-fledged result of this. So you understood? Frequency clear? Time period clear? What about time period and energy? What's the relationship between time period and energy? If time taken to cross a particular point is less, energy will be more. So energy is also inversely proportional to time period. These are simple things actually to comprehend, but most of the times we skip these things. We don't try to understand these things itself. We assume out these are quite simple things, but no, these are the fundamental tools for maximum things for us in terms of equations. Because then when the question will come and you have mugged up some equations, it becomes difficult to comprehend what exactly you are doing. So that's why I have given a full-fledged, deeper molecular details of this waves and interactions, different characteristics and their interactions with each other. Clear? One more parameter we have here, children, is wave number. What that called as? Wave number. It is represented by V bar. Okay, frequency is represented by V or nu. That's written like this. Frequency is represented by nu. It is V bar, wave number. Per unit length of a wave, how many waves are present? It's called as wave number. Number of waves present per unit length. Simple now. Simple it should be, children. What's it? Wave number. Number of waves present per unit length. What's it called as? Wave number. Simple now it should be. Tell me, if wavelength is more, wave number will be less. That should be as simple as that. Here, if I suppose this length, this one, this length I supposed, okay? And here I suppose the same length. How many waves? 1, 2, almost 2.5 waves are present. In the same length, only one wave is present. So wavelength and wave number are inversely proportional. Very good. So if wave number is more, that means energy will be more. So energy is directly proportional to wave number. Clear? Clear or not? Very good. So you can find out many equations with respect to this. Wave number unit, SI unit is centimeter inverse, and you can see that here wave number is 1 by lambda. So 1 by meter, so meter inverse it will be. So wave number unit is meter inverse or centimeter inverse, but lambda is meters. Did you get it clear? So what are the different characteristic property of the waves I discussed? I discussed first of all amplitude. What does amplitude of a wave mean? The maximum distance traveled by a particle, which in the present case is technically photon creating a wave in one upward direction or downward direction. That will be amplitude. Distance between two adjacent crusts or troughs is called as wavelength. Then energy, as I said, what I discussed about the energy. What I said about time period, the time taken by the wave to cross a particular point, right? Time periods unit will be second. What is frequency? Number of waves crossing a particular point per unit time. What's valve frequency per second, also called as hertz. Then I discussed wave number, which is centimeter inverse, and I said wave number is the number of waves present per unit length of a wave. Am I clear with all these equations, children? Right. So now let us see, because as I mentioned out a while earlier here, when the light is moving, Light travels in the form of bundles and packets called as photons. Right. What is the energy of each photon? What is the energy of each photon in a radiation? It will be determined by its frequency. Yes or no? So we can write down energy of a photon is directly proportional to nu. Different radiations will have different energetic photons. Violet will have different, red will have different, green will have different, ultraviolet region will have different, infrared region will have different. Am I clear? So we can write down energy is directly proportional to what? Frequency, as I mentioned. So different radiations in the electromagnetic spectrum will have each radiation with specific energy of a photon. So we write this one also as E equals to h nu. We already know nu is what? Here frequency, and E is what? Energy. So maybe in your textbook it will be written like this: E is directly proportional to V, where V is frequency, keep it in mind, not velocity. C is the speed, that is velocity, and V is the frequency. Sometimes it may be represented by F also or nu also. Keep the representations in mind. Okay, good. So E equals to h nu, or I'll write down h u. If it is bar above, it will be wave number. Okay, what is h? Planck's constant. We know the value 6.62 into 10 to the power minus 34 joule second. Very good. So E equals to h nu. Now, a while earlier, what is nu equal to? See, we have nu, that is frequency, is inversely proportional to lambda, right? If lambda is more, nu is less. We proved it a while earlier in our class. Clear? So E equals to 1 by U. So frequency equals to what? C by lambda. Frequency equals to C by lambda. What does C mean here? What does V mean here? Faster. See here, children. What is energy equal to? E equals to h nu, right? Or E equals to h C by lambda. Because lambda equals to C by V. It is wavelength. What is C? Speed of light. And what is V? It is frequency. Let us see whether the unit calculation is correct or not. So lambda will be in terms of meters, equals to, in physics you have done units and dimensions. C is speed of light. It will be meters per second. And V is what? Frequency. It is per second. When that goes up, it becomes second. These second and second inverse will be off. So what is it? Lambda meter. Here also it's coming meter. So this is the formula we have. So what is V equal to now? Frequency equals to what? C by lambda. That's what I wrote earlier. So E equals to H. I have written C by lambda. So I can write E equals to HC into wave number also. Can I? Because 1 by lambda equals to wave number. Oh, there are so many equations you can get out of it, children. So to find out energy of photon, if you have been given, so to find out energy of photon, if you have been given wave number, if you have been given lambda, if you have been given values out of the two, whichever the value is given, you will be in a position to calculate the energy of that photon. So what is that? Children, what are the equations we have got? So energy of photon equals to h nu when what is given? When frequency is given. You can find out the energy. You can also write E equals to h c by lambda when wavelength is given. And you can also write E equals to hc into wave number when wave number is given. Is it clear? So we have reached a conclusion here that electromagnetic spectrum has some characteristic properties. They travel with the same speed. They can travel in the vacuum as well, but matter waves cannot travel in the vacuum. Sound needs medium, but electromagnetic radiations do not need, because they have their inherited source of their energy, that is oscillating and changing electric and magnetic fields which are moving perpendicular. So I have discussed the equations which are relating different parameters with respect to each other. So you can convert frequencies, wave numbers and other unit. Units already you know, picometer conversion to nanometers, nanometers to meters, so on and so forth. Am I clear with these basic things here, children? Every one of you should be extremely careful with these discussions. Clear? So you have to look onto these things one by one. So tomorrow what we are going to do is, we will be solving questions with respect to this equation, that is de Broglie's equation, Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, and with respect to electromagnetic spectrum in terms of its energies, frequency and other values respectively. Am I clear, children? So tomorrow we'll do some calculations and some multiple choice questions as well with respect to these topics. Clear? Is it clear, children? Because it's integrated going on. So we have discussed the profuse equational analysis of electromagnetic spectrum as well, right?